Language Learning. Welcome to a short and new course titled Language Learning, taken from the book Educational Programs by Muteb Alqarni. In this course, we will learn helpful techniques for learning foreign languages, targeting primarily the English language as it is the most widely required language. While our main audience is Arab learners, this course offers valuable insights that can benefit all listeners. Therefore, I encourage you not to abandon this journey. It can be said initially that learning any language requires mastering two things: vocabulary and grammar. Vocabulary and grammar represent the language fundamentals, and language learning fails without them. Those who master vocabulary and grammar will master language skills afterward: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. So, the four aforementioned skills are nothing but a real test of understanding the first fundamentals: vocabulary and grammar. So the first step to learning English is to learn 1. Vocabulary, requiring memorization, and 2. Grammar, requiring understanding. The best way is to start by learning vocabulary before grammar, aiming to memorize 4,000 basic English words. Language is just vocabulary, and there is no solution to vocabulary except through deliberate memorization. This memorization is the arduous task that discourages others from learning any foreign language. Yes, learning languages is a daunting task due to memorization specifically. Memorization is exhausting. Start with it to assess your seriousness before wasting your time. Memorize 4,000 words now and don't worry about learning grammar. Simply memorize the vocabulary. Grammar can be left aside. With a strong vocabulary foundation, you'll be able to communicate effectively with native speakers without relying on grammar rules. Moreover, you'll find reading tasks much easier, as your vocabulary knowledge will suffice without the need for further learning. Start, for example, by memorizing 4,000 famous English words collected by Professor Paul Nation in his 6 books in the link in the description, or enable the Arabic translation option and watch them here on YouTube via the link below. These 4,000 basic words are sufficient for you initially to learn the entire English language, so memorize them with their correct pronunciation. Yes, focus on correct pronunciation, because mastering pronunciation is much more important than mastering grammar rules. English speakers see someone who pronounces words correctly, even with breaking grammar, as much better than someone who excels in grammar, with incorrect pronunciation of words. In short, focus on correct pronunciation as it gives a positive impression of you as an English language learner. If you cannot memorize the 4,000 words in a listing manner as presented in the aforementioned books by Paul Nation, try the way of learning vocabulary by theme, meaning that you memorize vocabulary of each theme independently. So, memorize numbers vocabulary, then colors, then days of the week, then school vocabulary, airport vocabulary, work vocabulary, etc. Memorizing vocabulary by theme is easier than memorizing scattered word lists. You will find in the link below vocabulary divided by theme, so memorize it, with the importance of reviewing the pronunciation of each word. Also, see the link below to use Cambridge Dictionary translated into Arabic for correct pronunciation. Remember that every link in the description will be identified separately. If memorizing vocabulary by theme doesn't help you, try learning vocabulary by image, as images are helpful in enhancing memory. Download or purchase the Illustrated Oxford Dictionary from the link below, or the Visual Illustrated Dictionary from DK Company, see the link. These dictionaries are useful because 1. They present words by theme, And 2, they also present them with images. Unfortunately, they lack a presentation of the correct pronunciation of each word. Review the pronunciation of each word or learn the basics of correct English pronunciation by following this valuable YouTube series in Arabic. See the link in the description. We've mentioned that the first drawback of illustrated dictionaries is the lack of proper pronunciation. The second drawback is the abundance of detailed and intricate words. Therefore, be cautious not to memorize unimportant words from them, such as auto-cue or mic boom, which you may not use in your life. Stick to the commonly used ones. Yes, memorize 4,000 common words and don't bother with rare or obsolete words, because every unfamiliar word will force you to explain it eventually. What's the point of telling an American that you're obstinate, a sophisticated word he doesn't understand, then explaining to him that you mean stubborn, resorting to simpler language? It is better to start with simple words from the beginning, as the main purpose of language learning is to communicate with others effectively. So, among the way of memorizing vocabulary are 1. By theme, and 2. By images. There is also 3. Learning vocabulary by rhythm, meaning according to the last sound in each word. You will find in the link below 2,500 words arranged by rhythm, like face, race, place, for example. These are groups of words that end with the same sound, which speeds up memorization. You can also use the phonetic factor to memorize homophones, which are similar words in pronunciation but different in spelling and meaning. Here, 150 homophones, see the link below, and homographs, similar words in spelling but different in pronunciation and meaning. Here, 150 homographs in the link below. The fourth and final method of vocabulary memorization is code switching, meaning inserting English words into your Arabic speech, such as saying, كنت أمشي in the street ووصلتني a message وأخبرت المرسل بأنني سآتي by bus. Inserting English words into Arabic speech, although an unpopular method, is useful for memorizing nouns rather than verbs. It's an effective method because it reinforces English words in memory. Despite its benefits, one of its drawbacks is that the user may forget Arabic words over time due to constant substitution. After memorizing 4,000 words, you have completed 70% of the language basics, leaving 30% related to grammar. Yes, it is good news. Grammatical rules are but fixed templates where vocabulary is inserted. However, random learning of grammar is not as beneficial as random learning of vocabulary. Grammar is acquired cumulatively, while vocabulary is acquired randomly. Therefore, it's important to learn grammar from scratch through a systematic series, such as following these 2 Arabic series. See the 2 links below. The best comprehensive series on YouTube is the Khan Academy channel series, where you can enable translation and watch it from the link in the description. Despite the benefits of YouTube series, their only drawback is not providing practical exercises, whereas learning grammar is essentially practicing grammar. Every series will remain unhelpful until it trains you with exercises. Try purchasing a series with exercises and questions to solve an answer to enhance your understanding of the rules. The best grammar training series is Betty Azar's series of books, the first one in red, the second one in black, and the last one in blue. All the relevant links are in this video description. Try obtaining them or downloading them and practicing solving the exercises in them, because the rule is solidified only through exercises and practice. Yes, solving assignments is important in learning, as a practical workout book benefits you more than a theoretical explanation book. One way to solidify and understand grammar is by transforming foreign names into realistic ones. For example, in grammar books you'll find exercises like fill in the blank. John, empty blank, Harvard University. So the answer would be something like this. John joined Harvard University. You'll find sentences like these, so modify the names in them. For instance, replace the name John with Ahmed, as if your friend Ahmed, someone you know, joined Jeddah University instead of Harvard. Then the sentence becomes, Ahmed joined Jeddah University. Cross English names and insert names from your real life. Do this with the rest of the sentences. Realistic sentences solidify the rule. The second method to solidify grammar is through translation via your dialect. For example, when learning the present continuous rule and reading a sentence like Ahmed is watching TV, don't translate it into Ahmed yushahid al-tilfaz. Here, try to translate the sentence into your own dialect, like saying Ahmed jalis yushahid al-tilfaz or Ahmed qa'id yushahid al-tilfaz, where the word jals or qa'id in the dialect signifies continuity. After that, try to form 20 realistic sentences using the same method. أختي فاطمة جالسة تطبخ. أمي جالسة تكلم أخي. أنا قاعد أفكر في الموضوع. Then translate these sentences into English using the present continuous rule. The verb to be plus verb plus ing. Using the dialect translation method and creating realistic sentences contributes to solidifying and reinforcing grammar. So give it a try. The third method to solidify grammar is deliberate repetition. For example, when learning that the word has should be used with he, she, it, and have should be used with you, they, we, I, the best way to strengthen these connections is to repeat 100 sentences containing the phrase I have, like I have come, I have left, I've read, etc. Deliberately repeating 100 sentences containing I have will eventually lead to establishing a solid foundation that rolls off your tongue effortlessly. By repeating I have intentionally many times, you won't mistakenly say I has because you've trained your tongue on I have extensively. So if you say something else, you'll notice the error. So, deliberate repetition is crucial because many grammar rules involve syntactic connections. After memorizing vocabulary, representing 70%, and comprehending grammar, representing 30%, you have established a foundation in language basics 100%. However, foundation doesn't mean mastery of the 4 language skills: reading, writing, listening, speaking. Language skills are the real test that demonstrates your previous foundation in vocabulary and grammar. If reading and listening are receptive skills, where you receive text and audio effortlessly, then writing and speaking are productive skills, where you produce text and speech, which are difficult skills requiring significant effort. In short, you won't master productive skills until you master receptive skills. In other words, you won't master writing until you master reading. Reading teaches you how to write, just as you won't master speaking until you master listening. Listening to speech teaches you how to speak. However, take this as a rule. Learning listening and speaking is more important than learning reading and writing. So, start with listening and speaking, because they are the most crucial skills you need in a foreign language. Why? Because people today listen to and speak more than they read and write. Ask yourself, when was the last time you read a book or wrote a long text? They are important skills, but they don't recur as much as listening and speaking skills. You speak with others for long periods and listen and watch videos and movies a lot on YouTube. So, Start with listening and speaking, as they are the two most important skills. If you find yourself short on time for learning reading and writing skills, you have the option to skip them altogether. Indeed, you likely have already amassed sufficient vocabulary to navigate these tasks, should the need arise. Start by learning the skill of listening to acquire the skill of speaking. Listen to English movies, TV shows, radio programs, audiobooks, podcasts, and other English conversations. An excellent way to facilitate understanding speech in movies as a beginner is to activate the transcript or translation, as they are beneficial. You'll notice while listening that 4,000 words with correct pronunciation appear in 85% of what you listen to, highlighting the importance of mastering correct pronunciation. Correct pronunciation makes understanding easier. Conversely, incorrect pronunciation makes analyzing words challenging when you encounter them for the first time, because they appear with a new pronunciation, different from what you're accustomed to. Try listening to a 5-minute YouTube clip. Then after listening, try to reproduce and summarize it in your own way, shifting from a receptive skill, listening, to a productive skill, speaking. Record your summary in an audio note or memo, then listen to the clip again, and notice the difference between your performance and the original speaker's performance. It can be beneficial here to mimic the speaker, but not to the extent that you become a parrot imitating a voice that's not yours. Compare your voice in Arabic and your voice in English. Are they different? If the voices are different, it's a sign that you're mimicking too much, and it's better to retain your original voice even if there are traces of your accent in your English. When comparing your speech to the original speaker's speech in the clip, you'll notice the first important difference is the use of contractions by the original speaker, such as I'm, I've, he's, there. In contrast, you say I am, I have, he is, he has, they are. Additionally, you may find the original speaker shortening verbs, saying gonna, wanna, and kinda, while you say going to, want to, and kind of. This discovery teaches you the importance of using contractions more frequently in speaking, because the absence of contractions in your speech indicates a low linguistic performance. Therefore, repeat contractions until they roll off your tongue effortlessly. Remember that comparing your speech to the original speaker's speech is the best way to accelerate language learning, as it reveals areas of deficiency to avoid. You'll also notice during the comparison the use of gap fillers as another difference between your speech and the original speaker's speech. For example, you'll hear the original speaker saying like, I mean, you know, and other words like, well, so you see, while you don't say them. For instance, you'll hear them say, I, don't know the story, you know, he said this, I mean, he wants to say it, and I, like, at that time, kinda, like, people told me I looked a bit upset. So, try adding some of these fillers to your speech as they give a positive impression of you. But don't overuse them, just add a touch to enhance the flavor of the soup. With the comparison, you'll also notice a third difference, which is that the original speaker uses words from American slang, while you stick to formal vocabulary. For example, you'll hear them say sweet, cute, awesome, no way, what's up, all right, yep, nah, dude. These are common words from American slang that you can include in your formal speech because they are from mainstream dialects, accepted and recognized by most speakers. Target the top 100 words from American slang in the link below and avoid dialectal words specific to certain states. Yes, leave out any word you feel you'll have to explain again. With the comparison, you'll also discover a fourth difference, which is the original speaker's use of phrasal verbs more than your usage. You'll find them saying, for example, check out instead of look, carry on instead of continue, and give up instead of surrender. Phrasal verbs consist of a verb and a preposition. Try incorporating them into your speech to sound more natural, targeting popular phrasal verbs like those on this list, consisting of 80 phrasal verbs. See the link below. Again, as we've said, don't memorize a neglected phrasal verb that you'll end up having to explain. Comparison is the correct method for linguistic development, so you can rely on it a lot. Along with using comparison, try also practicing speaking without summarizing, meaning speaking with native speakers online, engaging with them, discussing, debating, as frequent speaking makes a difference. But what if you can't find a native speaker to talk to? Speak to yourself for a minute about a specific topic. For example, ask yourself, what do you think about recent developments in Saudi Arabia? What's your favorite car? What are your aspirations? Ask yourself one question per hour and try to answer for just 1 minute. Then record yourself during that time. Listen to your conversation and re-record it, thus improving through comparison. With mastery of listening and speaking skills, learn reading and writing skills. Start with reading as it teaches you writing. As expected, there's no way to improve reading except by deliberately reading texts, whether books or magazines, etc. Listening to audiobooks also enhances reading, where you listen to the text while reading it simultaneously. It could even be said that watching movies with the English transcript option activated, where you listen to the speech and read the text, improves two skills simultaneously, reading and listening. So, try reading transcripts while watching movies, enjoying the film while getting used to reading long texts. We've said that as a rule. From reading, you'll learn writing. The best way to improve writing through reading is also using comparison. Like reading the English text, then translating it into your language, then returning after a day or two to translate your previous Arabic translation into English, and then compare your new translated text with the original English text. Similarly, do the same with text messages in everyday language, so after reading the original speaker's messages, you can translate them into Arabic, then return after a day or two to translate them into English and compare your translation with the original. Yes, comparison reveals the difference, allowing you to discover your mistakes and correct them without a private tutor. The first difference you'll learn from comparing your translated text with the original text is variation in vocabulary. Comparison teaches you the importance of synonyms, as you'll find that the original writer writes large while you write big, or he writes tiny while you write small, or he writes fake while you write false. You'll learn from this method that there are other synonyms for each word you use, and you'll master them through trial and error. Despite the importance of synonyms, they should be used cautiously, as not every pair of words have the same meaning. Yes, don't exaggerate too much and stick to basic synonyms that are not significantly different in meaning, and you'll find some of them in the link below. The second difference you'll learn during comparison is the importance of collocations, which are two words that are closely associated with each other, such as heavy rain, golden opportunity, deep sleep, warm welcome, close friend, heavy rain, etc. You might write in your translated text a big problem and find the original writer has written a major problem. You might write play an important role and find the original writer has written "play a key role." You'll learn lexical collocations, and you can find them in an Arabic-English dictionary, and also online in this Oxford Dictionary. See the 2 links below. While translating text messages, you'll also learn the importance of abbreviations as a third difference between you and the native author. You'll find yourself writing "Oh my God," while the native writer writes OMG also in lowercase letters. And you'll write "to be honest," and then you'll find the original writer writes TBH, then you'll write "I don't know," while he simply writes IDK. When you incorporate the abbreviations, in the link below, into text messages, you'll give a positive impression of yourself as a writer aware of colloquial English. Using several abbreviations in your messages explains the extent of your understanding of colloquial written conventions. Yes, you may be surprised by this and ask me by the following abbreviation, AYS, and I'll answer yes. If you find difficulty in translating English texts by yourself, you can use Google Translate. First, ask yourself, what type of writing do you want to develop? Academic writing, legal writing, religious writing, or what? Choose a text specific to that type and translate it into Arabic with Google Translate. Then take a paper and translate the Arabic text translated by Google Translate back into your English. Yes, translate the Arabic translation provided by Google back into English, either by writing manually or even by simply translating the text spontaneously without manual writing. After that, go back to compare between your Arabic to English translation and the first original English text, then correct the mistakes. If you don't like this method, just watch Arabic movies with subtitles translated into English as they alert you to the translation of important expressions commonly used in your language. After mastering the previous 4 skills, the last advice is to continue language learning and practice by expanding your vocabulary and reviewing your understanding of grammatical rules. That means, don't stop practicing the language lest you forget it. If you stop for any reason, just focus on reviewing the vocabulary related to your work and profession. For example, review the words frequently used in your work. In other words, don't review vocabulary related to politics, economics, and sociology that you previously memorized, as you may not have a chance to use them in your workplace. Focus on the vocabulary you use daily in your work and review it until it becomes second nature to you. Yes, you don't need to review everything. Review everything related to what matters to you only. Finally, we come to the end of the language learning course. We learned a lot in this course, and the best thing we learned is that learning a language begins with learning the basics, vocabulary, learned randomly, then grammar, learned cumulatively. After establishing the foundation, you can learn the 4 skills of reading, writing, listening, and speaking through continuous comparison. Here remains an important note. We said in the course that learning vocabulary and grammar precedes learning the 4 skills. In reality, the 4 skills themselves can also teach you vocabulary and grammar. Choose the method that suits you, but remember that starting with vocabulary memorization before learning grammar is a successful decision that will show you the extent of your determination and desire to learn a foreign language. This course, Language Learning, is taken from the book Educational Programs by Muteb Alqarni.